My Monday started like most, editing last night's shoot and answering tips, until a single blunt comment froze my cursor. Figures you'd sell skin instead of soul. Shame, really. At Theoriston 87. A judgmental stranger on my feed was nothing new, yet the wording felt personal. It stung precisely because I do pour soul into what I film. Candlelit vignettes, whispered affirmations, genuine aftercare. I inhaled, let the hurt travel through me, then set it aside. But the username stuck in my head long after I hit delete. That evening I headed to the local indie cinema in Ellensburg, Washington, for their annual queer film night. The auditorium smelled of popcorn and rain-wet wool coats. Halfway through the opening short, someone slid into the seat beside me, a man in an ash-gray peacoat, copper-flecked hair falling across slate-blue eyes. He offered a courteous nod, then focused on the screen. During the credits roll, lights lifted, and I recognized the jawline from his profile avatar. At Theoriston 87. Before I could decide whether to look away or call him out, he whispered, "I owe you an apology, Elwood." My stomach corkscrewed. "You know who I am. Watched your latest set last night." He winced. "Left a comment I regret." I braced. People fling worse daily. It still wasn't fair. His voice carried a surgeon's precision, measured but soft. "Can I buy you coffee and explain?" Curiosity beat caution. We ducked into a 24-hour cafe where vintage vinyl played mellow blues. He removed his peacoat. Beneath, a moss-green fishernit jumper hugged broad shoulders. He introduced himself formally, Lowell Thayer Easton, doctoral candidate in media ethics, visiting from Ann Arbor for a guest lecture at the university. "I've been studying the line between authenticity and commodification online," he said, wrapping long fingers round a mug. "When I saw your content trending, I judged you as just another performer selling faux intimacy. But halfway through your firelight scene, I realized I felt something priceless." I arched an eyebrow. "So priceless you typed a public smackdown?" Lowell's cheeks flushed rhododendron pink. "Old reflex. Critique first, feel later." His eyes, open, remorseful, reminded me of Sky's moments before sunrise. "Let me try again. Your video hit deeper than I expected. It unsettled me because it was real. And real scares me." His honesty disarmed me. I laughed softly. "You could have simply tipped." "I intend to," he said, tone earnest. "But money felt inadequate. I wanted to show you I'm not above learning. So." He unlocked his phone, thumb hovering. "May I send you something?" My way of owning the judgment. I nodded, bemused. Seconds later a push notification pinged. "Lowell T. has shared a private video with you." Back in my loft, rain pattered the skylight as I sat on the sofa, headphones on. I pressed play. The video opened on Lowell in a dorm-quiet hotel room. Lamplight haloed his hair. He faced the lens squarely. "This is for you, Elwood," he began, voice wavering. What followed wasn't erotic. It was confession. Lowell spoke of loneliness behind intellectual accolades, of nights scrolling my feed for warmth he pretended to disdain, of the exact moment my last upload cracked his composure. His eyes glistened when he admitted, "I want what you give, unfiltered tenderness." At the 4-minute mark, he whispered, "I don't have your confidence with a camera, but I hope this feels honest." Then he reached behind the phone and switched off the light. The screen faded to darkness, only breath and rain audible, before the clip ended. I exhaled, pulse thrumming. My cynicism melted faster than wax near flame. He'd given vulnerability, not critique, his own soul, unscripted. Hey, beautiful souls watching this unfold. Pause for a sec. If you believe in second chances and stories that crack open the heart, slam that like button, share this saga, and smash subscribe right now. Tell us in the comments where you're tuning in from. Seattle? Lagos? Reykjavik? And drop a cloud with rain if you've ever judged first, loved later. Ghosting those buttons would be tragic. Your click literally writes our next chapter. 2 nights later Lowell was due to fly home. Instead, he texted, "Cancelled my return. Need to see if honesty can bloom twice." I invited him over. My loft smelled of cedarwood and bergamot. A single pillar candle cast gold onto brick walls. When Lowell arrived, raindrops jeweled his lashes. I handed him a towel for his hair, and like breath drawn before a dive, we stood, unsure who'd speak first. He broke the hush. "I wondered if that video would scare you off." I shook my head. It did the opposite. Thunder rumbled. Lowell stepped closer, eyes flicking to my mouth then away. "I keep thinking, if you can bear your body, maybe I can bear my fear." "Let's do both carefully," I said. "Together." I reached for his hand. Our fingers interlaced. Cool, trembling warmth meeting calloused calm. No cameras yet. Just us. The rain softened to a hush, as if eavesdropping. We sat cross-legged on a woven rug. I poured 2 splashes of maple rye whiskey. Candlelight licked his cheekbones. Lowell studied me like a scholar decoding scripture. My pulse drummed louder with every sweep of his lashes. I wanted to kiss him, yet feared shattering the fragile courage between us. So I spoke first. "What scares you most right now?" "That you'll find my inexperience dull," he admitted, cheeks blooming scarlet. "Plenty of theory, not much practice." I touched his wrist. "Theory is just foreplay for reality." His breath hitched. We remained eye-locked until the charge became unbearable. He leaned in, tentative. Our lips brushed. Featherlight, testing. A shiver ribboned down my spine at the earnest vulnerability of the kiss. He tasted of rain and rye, tentative wonder and apology. When we parted, his eyes glowed with awe. "You're real." "So are you," I murmured. Later, I set my DSLR on a tripod but left it off. We agreed the first capture should be Polaroid, something instant yet uneditable. Lowell snapped the shutter, a grainy square of us on the rug, foreheads touching, candle between. He shook the print, heart pounding. When the image bloomed, we laughed at how serene we looked compared to the storm inside. Only then did I flick the camera to record. Low ISO, warm balance. The red tally light glowed but felt gentle, like a witness rather than voyeur. I addressed the lens softly. Tonight isn't about flawless choreography. It's about exploring new ground with open hearts. Lowell exhaled, shoulders easing. He mirrored my words. "And if you're here with us, treat every moment tenderly, on screen and off." Our second kiss deepened, still unrushed. His fingers traveled to my hairline, tentative but yearning. I cupped the nape of his neck, guiding our tempo like a metronome set to adagio. We lay side by side, sharing the pillow of my outstretched arm. The camera framed only from shoulders up, enough to register parted lips, fluttering lashes, shy smiles between breaths. Heat radiated, yet nothing explicit breached the lens. Intimacy was conveyed through size more than skin. He traced a timid fingertip along my jaw, down my throat, stopping at my collarbone ridge. "Okay," he asked. "More than." Our legs tangled, fabric brushing fabric. We explored textures of each other's shirts, the ridges of denim, the warmth beneath. When my palm slid under his jumper, I paused at the threshold. He nodded, granting entry. My hand mapped the contours of his ribs, feeling his lungs expand with each stuttered breath. He mirrored the gesture, lifting the hem of my tee, marveling at the rise of gooseflesh beneath his nails. The candle snapped, sending sparks of scent, cedar, clove, into the air. Rain drummed the skylight like restless applause. Lowell's shyness transformed into curiosity. He guided my hand lower, resting it over the thunder of his heart even as his pulse raced ahead. I whispered descriptions into the mic. How his breath shortened, how my own chest echoed that rhythm, how belonging felt like this steady convergence of sighs. Voiceover into camera, hushed. If you feel the electricity humming through these quiet touches, don't just watch, participate. Show us your heartbeat by hitting like, drop a comment with your city, share this moment with someone who understands yearning. Let guilt never kiss you goodnight for scrolling past without giving love back. Our shirts eventually lifted away, revealing skin-lit amber. Yet still the lens saw only from our shoulders to faces, suggestion over exhibition. The true explicitness was emotional, the trust to be seen unguarded. Lowell brushed lips across my sternum, pausing each time my breath quaked. I threaded fingers through his hair, murmuring reassurances. We traded positions, sometimes he above, sometimes I. Each shift a negotiation of mutual respect. When at last our torsos pressed fully, denim to denim, a low groan escaped us in unison. The moment felt seismic, but we kept movement gentle, letting pressure build like tide approaching shore. His forehead rested against mine. Sweat purled at our temples. I never knew slow could be this intense, he gasped. Intensity lives in patience, I replied. I reached for the bedside shelf, retrieving a silk ribbon I use for sensory play, deep indigo against candle flame. I offered it with a glance, asking silent permission. Lowell's lips parted on a soft, yes. I wrapped the ribbon loosely around our joined wrists, a symbolic tether of consent and equality. We lay back, wrists bound but able to slide apart if needed. The camera lingered on intertwined fingers, silk glinting. Our hips moved in languid sync, tension swirling higher. Breath collided, hearts galloped. The line between anticipation and culmination blurred to silver haze. Just before the tide could crest, I touched the lens gently, murmuring, "Hold this note with us." The screen faded to black, only our mingled breaths remained, one rising storm still gathering power. We didn't need light to feel seen. The room was dark now, save for the blinking camera tally and the pulsing rise and fall of our breaths. That ribbon still tied us loosely at the wrists, not as bondage but as a bond. A symbol of trust that could be slipped out of at any time, but wasn't. Lowell's forehead rested against mine. I could feel every vibration of his voice in his throat, even before he whispered, "I didn't think I'd be capable of this." Of what? This kind of closeness. This kind of letting go. I grazed my lips across his cheekbone, letting my mouth linger near his ear. "You're not letting go," I said. "You're being held." He breathed in sharply, and then his fingers tightened. Our hips moved together in slow, controlled rhythm, denim and skin barely enough to buffer the sensation. I wanted it that way. I wanted him to feel everything. Every friction. Every exhale. Every layer of himself that peeled open without shame. Soft whisper, off camera. "If you're still watching, this is your sign. Not every fire has to be fast. Some love stories burn slow but burn all the way through. Don't just view, belong. Like this. Share it. Comment where your heart is watching from. We're waiting for you too." Lowell's breath hitched, a half-ah, half-sob, and I felt his body tense under mine. "I'm there," he whispered. I cupped the back of his neck, grounding him. "Me too." And then, together we let go. Not violently, not dramatically, but like a deep tide finally reaching shore. After, we stayed just like that, bodies pressed, ribbon untied, sweat cooling across the arcs of our backs. The candle had long since guttered, leaving the room in soft black. I could still hear the patter of rain against the skylight, the sound somehow tenderer now, like the sky was exhaling with us. Lowell's voice broke the silence. "That was the safest I've ever felt. I pulled the blanket around us. Because you weren't pretending." He looked up, and even in the dark, I could see the gleam in his eyes. "Do you think people watching will feel it?" I reached out, stopping the recording with one hand, still stroking his hair with the other. "They already do. You have no idea how much this will stay with them." He traced lazy circles on my chest. "And you. I'll feel this in every nerve for days, I said. Not just from touch, but from truth. 2 days later, we edited the footage side by side, curled on the same couch we'd collapsed on. I muted some of the breathier moments, layered in soft lo-fi piano in others. We left the beginning and ending untouched. The final video wasn't graphic. It was intimate. We titled it simply, "He Judged Me, Then Sent His Own Video." And in the description, "This isn't performance. It's forgiveness in real time. It's proof that some people do change, and when they do, it's beautiful. Be kind. Be slow. Be brave." Before we uploaded, I asked Lowell if he wanted to write the viewer message himself. He nodded, then typed, "Message to our viewers. From Lowell this time. If you made it to this point, you felt something. Maybe a tremble in your chest, maybe heat in your stomach, maybe tears in your throat. Don't be passive about it. Smash the like button. Drop your city in the comments. Share this video with someone who once got it wrong, and remind them that growth is possible. We made this to honor the slow burn, the emotional restart, and the rare chance that two people who almost missed each other didn't. This isn't just content. This is real. And we're not done. Within 24 hours, the video reached 112K views. Not because it was steamy, though it was, but because it was honest. The comments section read like a modern love novel. This was poetry with hands. Cried when they tied the ribbon. That kind of trust. I felt it in my spine. Watching from Oslo. I judged someone once. Sending this to him now. Thank you. We posted a follow-up clip the next morning. A simple Q&A from bed. Still bare-shouldered under the sheets. Both of us holding coffee mugs. Are we dating? I read aloud. Lowell looked at me. Do you want to be? I nodded. Since the moment you said sorry. Then yes, he smiled. We are. From there, everything changed. Our channel became more than uploads. It became a community. Viewers wrote us essays, sent us art, DM'd stories of reconciliation and rediscovery. We began a weekly series called Undoing Judgment, where couples talked about the moment they misread each other and chose to love anyway. And every single video, we ended with the same line. If you felt something, don't leave quietly. Click like. Share this with someone healing. And tell us, where are you watching from tonight? We want to feel you here. The ribbon, now framed, hangs above our bed. Lowell and I film less now, but we love harder. Long hikes. Cold pizza. Arguments over who forgot to restock candles. And every anniversary of that first upload, we return to Ellensburg. To that tiny cinema. To the cafe where we learned each other's names. And always, we press record again. To remind people. To reach someone new. To prove that a single moment of judgment can still become a lifelong act of love. You're here. You stayed. You saw it all. So now do the simple but powerful things. Like this video. Share it with someone who once judged you. Drop your country, state, or street name in the comments. Hit subscribe, because this kind of connection doesn't come often, and you shouldn't miss it when it does. This was never about performance. It was about presence. And you were part of it. We love you. Until next time. Elwood and Lowell.